So this is what I explained yesterday about how we do curving. So I have this set of sample grades that go from as low as 63 all the way up to 100. Now I need to curve these. So the process is basically, I got the first X and Y, 72, 100. So the median, I check the median of the old grades. And then I decide, and of course this is the max. Oops, I put that one. And here I decide what the median, new median should be. So 72 should become 85. So I find the slope, the known y's, which is the blues, and these are the x's. I find the slope, and then I find the intercept. So the new grade will be, this is my equation, y equal mx plus b. Put this on the side here. Oops, sorry. So the new grade will be the old grade, which is A2, times H5, which is the slope, plus the intercept. So 100 remains 100. And 72, as you see, become 85. And 63 becomes 82. So if you want to run a quick stat between the old and the new one, yeah, the column here. Let's call this, for example, student 1. So the min, max, median. So this is the minimum of this data set. Max, and hold on, I made a slight mistake. This is the max, and median. Didn't take it. We'll do the same here. I'll show you exactly what changed. So the min went up from actually 61 to 79. 100 remains 100, and the median went up here. So if we want to change it, make it, let's say, 87, it will adjust accordingly. So I play with this number up and down until I get the desired solution. So that's how curving works out just now. Any question on this? So what I do basically, typically I have another column. Actually, this is the difference. Shows me how much the biggest increase. Usually, on the lowest part, you'll get the biggest increase. But what I do, I have another column. I'll convert these to letter grades, and I have kind of a histogram. See now how many A's, how many B plus, how many B minus. And I'm kind of generous, but not very generous. I try not to be very generous. I mean, at the end, nobody gonna fail. And C's, unless you're really doing really bad, you get a C. But most people will be like B minus and up. So typically, I get at the end there'll be more A's than I'd like to see, but just have to be fair with everyone. Okay. Any question on this? So this is how this works. So I'll just take one. Let me delete this one. Okay. So we saw how we did the forecast the other day, right? This is the actual data, and here we start putting the future, what would be the proposed or what would be the expected quantity sold if we set the price at a higher level. But you can run it different ways if you want to do all that manually. under data, you can use the forecast sheet. So what we can do, we can highlight these two first, and Excel automatically will take these as the actual or historic data. And you click this, this is automatic. You notice this is similar to some extent to what we did. Hold on. And then this gives you a preview, and then you can create. Let me just zoom out here. Okay. And let me show the options. So Excel detects automatically that your actual data ends at 53, and then you set like how far up you want to go. It said, let's go to 70. And you set the confidence interval, 95% confident, or less or more. That'll adjust the margin, the range of certainty. So what happens, this is automatically, if you highlight first, it will highlight, automatically fill the timeline range and the value range, which is the X and Y's. Yes. Go ahead, you first.
So the confidence interval is just how sure that the trend is going to remain the same?
Correct. So based on that, so the lower, you see that you have three branches. The one in the middle is kind of the main one. This is what your average. And the lower one, based on your confidence, like worst case, what it will be as low as the lower one, and the best case will be the higher line. So this will be your range. If you notice sometimes when they forecast a hurricane path, they never give you like one straight line, like it's definitely coming here. They give you like a cone, right? So they will say, we'll show you the map. Let's say this is the map of the US. They'll show you the hurricane coming up. This is where it is right now, and this is moving up, right? They put this line, but along with it to be this cone. The further up, the wider it is, because they're not really sure. It can go either way. On the short range, they're more certain where it's going ahead. But in the long term, it could be either way. So this is similar. You need to address these variations.
Can we get those points?
Wait. So you can include forecast statistics. When you hit create, you get a completely new sheet. So this is the quantity sold. This is your historic data, and this is the forecasted based on the historic data. This exact same numbers we generated using the forecast formula. You can adjust the formatting of the numbers a little bit. Okay. And this is the chart that comes with it. So the blue line, you can see this is the historic data. Move this up. The main red line, this is the forecast, and this is the lower confidence and the higher confidence range. So this is the lower confidence bound, upper confidence bound. So the concept of that, the functionality, is absolutely no different than the formulas we did. But instead of doing all this manual work, define these, Excel create this dialog box to create all that for you. At the same time, there's a checkbox I checked about statistical data. You get this forecast data. I'm not going to get into those. This has statistical meaning. I myself need to figure this out, but these are the statistics of that forecast. If you're doing any statistical analysis, you can see that. But in general, you can use this. Any question on this one? Yes.
How do you describe? Is that like a linear?
It is linear, yes. But what gives you a little bit more variation is your level of confidence. So if you go back actually and select forecast, interpolation. There's an option somewhere shows it's linear. Maybe not on the screen. By the way, you can change the chart as well. And this column, these lines on top of the bar, this gives you the variation, what would be the lowest and the highest. So another way to represent your data. Okay. So one more thing, actually, what we did yesterday. So when you have historic data and you start trying to predict what will be the output or the outcome, the Y, outside your data, this is called forecast or trending. But if you're trying to find what would be the value if you had between two known values, that's interpolation. So just a naming convention, but the methodology is pretty much the same, especially if it's linear. Again, this interpolation could be right, could be wrong, depends on your margin of error, but it doesn't account for unusual events. For example, if you have like historical data, let's go like this is, you don't know actually what's in between, but you know these data points, right? And basically you said, you know what, this point between these two, if I'm gonna, I can average will be here. But and actually it could be actually like this. This point could be here. But you don't know it, but you estimate it based on what happened before and what happened after. So there's always a margin of error. This is not that. Okay. Especially when you look at financial data, any outliers, unexpected events, usually send the charts really often. Any question on these? A few more things before we switch to mapping, small stuff. Excel has special also on charting, special chart for this for the stock prices. Usually all the stock prices, either on a daily basis or weekly or monthly or yearly, you have the open price, you have the closing price, and you have the high and low, right? So to represent it in one, they call it the candle. Or there's one presentation which is like this. So this would be the opening price. So you'll have a chart, and every day you'll have this. Let's say you have the daily average. So this would be the opening price. Went up this high, and went down this low, and this could be the closing price. Or it could be the opposite. If it closed higher than opening, it would be like this. Sometimes the opening is the lowest price. Sometimes the closing is the highest. So just one figure shows you exactly what happened to that stock that day. Same thing you can do with the candlestick. You have four values. You have the open, I think with this one, forgot which, the 26. Oh, which one is the data? So this one, 2017, open at 231 and closed to 2021. So opened high. I think this is the, okay, I remember. So you notice there is two types, two colors. It's white or black. If it's white, means open low, ended high. If it's black, means open high, ended low. And these are the low and the high. So without even looking at these markers, just looking at the colors, black and white, you know if it was up or down that day. And how big or small you see the variation from one day to day. The bar graph is the volume. So this is another element in the stock market. How many shares were traded that day? This applies to the whole index, or it could be just one stock price. The same values. Always you have open, you have close, you have high, and you have low. So when you check, you want to insert that chart, you see that, where is it? Charts. Where's the other chart? I can see it. Here you go. You have these stock charts. You know what? Let me change this from here. So you have one with 3 basic elements: high, low, close, open, high, low, and close, volume, high, low, and close. The volume is in bar, and this is volume, open, high, low, and close. So it depends what data you have. These are standard, just put them there. Now the professional investors, they don't usually use this much. They have much more sophisticated charting tools, give them more colorful charts. And usually those are dynamic, not in Excel. But if you want to just take a snapshot, put it in a presentation or show it, you can quickly use that as well. Okay. Or if you have any other data that basically follow the same rule. It doesn't have to be a stock price. Okay. Box and whiskers, by the way, these are, you can use them. You know what? We'll get to that later. Box and whiskers, basically similar to that. In one chart, you get the 25th percentile, median, the 75th. I think this is the min and max of a whole data series, not just one point. Let's try to do it actually on this one, on these two. So charts. No, I can't find it. Go. There you go. So see these values down here, min, max, median. These are 2 data series are represented in 2 charts. This shows me how my data changed from min, max. Let me show the values over there too. Oh. I think I messed up something. Why? This should be a number. It's weird. Leave it. So these will be, so it showed me like side by side how the min went from 61 to almost 82, median from 72 to 80, 84. I think I have 2 overlapped here. Okay, I cannot remove it, but I'll delete it. The median is 87. Also, it shows you where the median compared to the 25 percentile to the 75th percentile. I mean, there is more people, more students on this part than the lower part of the grade. So there's not too many between the 25% and the median. There are more above the median. Same thing here. I mean, this is the median, which is in this case 72, but there's a lot. This is 50%, means half the population are above and half are below. This is the definition of the median. So the median basically, now the median is B, and almost I think like 75% there. On that note, actually, that was in the last final, I think. So you can use a function called the quartile. So you can choose similar to the median. The median is basically quartile mode 2. So you get this is the minimum. So using quartile actually replace min, max, and median. It depends on what parameters you provide. So select your data. If you select the second parameter, the quart as 0, that's the minimum. First quarter, that's the 25th percentile. The second, that's the median function, gives you exact same result. Third is 75% and the max. So I didn't give this in class last semester, but I gave this function in the final. It's easy to learn to use, 30 seconds. So for the first quartile is, hold on. The default is 0. Why didn't take it? Okay, number 1. So 75. If you sort these, how many we have here? 10. If we sort them from the lowest grade to the highest, the second or the third has the 61, 67 as a grade. So basically these are reflected here, the 25th, the median, 75th, min, and max, all these 5 values in one chart. Any question on this, on the quartiles? Let me put them in the right order here. Median will be 75th. So these are the numbers for each series represented in these 2 charts. Okay. So it's hard to put them into perspective, but when you chart them, you can see them better. And let me set this to general. Any question on these? Okay.
Yeah, I got a question.
Sure.
So what exactly does it return? Because there's no 93. So shouldn't it be the fourth quartile, for example?
I think this is rounded. Hold on. 92.5. I think it does extrapolate it. What would it be if there is 75th? So basically, depends on how many values you have. If you have 10, that means 75th quartile is basically the student 7.5. If you have 100 students, it would be the 75th one. Because you don't have the data, it will extrapolate it between the 7th and the 8th, pretty much. Okay. And in this case, that would be here. Let me sort them by grade. So this is 10, 9, 8.7. I'm not sure what formula it is, but somewhere between these two here. Okay. Another question? Is this 70? Hold on, just make sure I got this right. Number 3, yes, the third quartile. No, there is no average. The average is a separate formula. The average basically is the sum of them divided by the count. That will give you the average.
Will this be the average of row 8 and row 9? Or
Yes.
no, because no, there's 2 of them, right?
I'll tell you, there'll be the average of. No, it's not the average. I need to check exactly how this the formula works, but it's definitely not the average.
Is it not taking a normal, like a normal curve type of quartile where it's,
It probably does.
yeah.
To be honest, I don't know exactly the math behind it.
I
So
was trying to look it up on office support. It's very hard to say.
let me save this. Okay. So this one. One more nifty graphic tool. Can go over. This is small stuff usually. I was planning for next class. By next class, I want to go over the power pivots and then dashboards and BIs. So I want to get this out of the way. So there's another charting tool called Sparkline. So, hey, for example, this data set. We have a growth in different sectors, information system, services, and manufacturing. Under each one of them, let's say information system, you have software, hardware, media, telecom, and services. You have healthcare, consumer, businesses. And this is like one year to year, this 2010, 2011. These are quarterly data. And this is their growth. So how obviously lost connection for a moment. One way to look at it is to do conditional formatting, either all of them at once, shows you which one, the highest growth or lowest growth. Also, you can select them within just the same service, and then you apply. So these are comparable just within the same column. So you cannot compare these columns, column to column, just within the same vertical, these are compared. Or, oops, hold on. Need to undo the formatting. Right. Sparklines. Or you can insert sparklines. This section here under insert. So I select one vertical, location. So the data is B2 to B26, which is this one. I want the sparkline to be in B22. So these colors shows, actually it reflects the color. So red is low, goes up, and then goes down a little bit, and then goes up again, and then slightly down. So this shows you without going through like a formal chart. So this sparkline stays within the cell. So I can simply just extend it like this. Also, you got a new tab on top where you can select different options. You got a design. You can select the high point to highlight that, the low point, negative points if any, the last point. Put the markers, the data points of each one of them if you want. You also can change it to columns. then or depends on your data, could be profit loss. This case, there is not too many, there's no negatives pretty much, they're all positive. In case you have percentages up and down, you might want to check that one. You can also change the style. If you want it more reddish or greenish or whatever. Anytime you have a data, you don't want to just put one chart, you want to mix the numbers with the chart, this is actually a good option for that. These are called spark lines next to the chart. And if you have Office 2016, by the way, now we're going to get to maps, there's a new chart type called map. That's not available in 2013. And it's treated in Excel as chart. We're going to get to that. But this is in 2016. Okay. Any question on this? Do you want me to repeat, redo any of that? Okay. So these are the spark lines. What else to discover in Excel? So now we can get to the maps.
Before you move on,
Sure.
Can you show one more time how to create spark lines again?
Sure. Wait until this uploads. How to create spark lines?
Yeah, so just run there.
And highlight this. Go to design and clear. So you select your first data. Insert spark lines line. Okay. And the location range, I said I want to put it here. This is where I want to place it. Once you select it, there's the options here. You can select markers, high, low. You can even change other options. I'm not going to go over all these. But once you select one, you can simply just drag it left. And you can also customize the color for each type of points. Let's say you have these data points, high, low, first, last, negative. You can customize the color of each one of them separately. One thing, let me check actually. Here is, this is not data access. Okay. Another question on this? Okay. So on the maps, so this is data set I downloaded today. I haven't opened it yet, so we're gonna work on it together. So this, for example, we have different data sets, life expenses at birth, different countries, and expected years of schooling, gross national income, and so on. So let's see how we can map these on the map. Very high human development. Says I need my data to be continuous, so I'm going to delete this. Actually, before we start the work, just let me mention a couple of things. So I'll put a few links up here about the intro to, this is a short video, 3 minutes. You can watch it on your own. But this is the guide from Excel for Microsoft Office support, how to get started with 3D maps. Show you examples, almost step-by-step guide, how to do it. We're going to go over that, but it's there with some sample data as well, and some other links to do it. So we can start from the basic to get something really fancy. And The other one we spoke about how you're gonna use geocoding, how you geocode the long lat, street addresses, and so on. In your line of business, when you do some work, there are tools actually that can convert physical addresses to give you the lat and long for these addresses. So a lot of municipalities, especially our counties, they have sophisticated IT system. Basically, they have a system where you can put the address, send it, they'll give you back the lat and long. So they have something called GIS system in the back end with data about their jurisdiction. So they have a GIS, geographical information system, and they keep updated. USPS can provide their service. I think it's a paid service. So go through web API, web interface. You can send address, gives you the properly formatted address, and it gives you what's the lateral long. There are like even more sophisticated. For example, New York City has their own internal GIS service where you can submit a New York City address. Doesn't only gives you the right format, gives you the lat and long, also gives you what school district, who's the Congress representative for that district, the city council representative, everything about that specific location. So pretty much a lot of government entities, either state or county, or they have such system. On the state level, for sure. And they rely on that also, working on a project for the state of Michigan, Department of Agriculture. They rely heavily on it in the farming area because there is no address. The address basically could stretch like 2 miles because it's one big piece of land. So they rely on the maps, and they have coordinates for every corner of that. So they can do their work. They can do inspection, or they can do assessment of property taxes and so on. So rarely I've seen recently any application, especially within the government field, that doesn't involve this. So it's good to understand that the lat log can be converted to street address and vice versa. Okay. Excel doesn't now. You need a database for that, and you need the GIS system for that. There's private parties actually. They provide such service called you've probably heard of Esri. Forgot what it stands for, but this is one of the biggest GIS providers, information system providers. So a city like New York can buy them and work with them to get their data properly there. And also they provide satellite images and so on. So anything about geographic information system, those guys do it. Other companies, Google actually does that. Microsoft actually also has through Bing Maps. I know a lot of you, including myself, I hate it from a consumer perspective. But for business, actually, they provide these addressing and services as well, addressing and mapping service. So either Esri or Microsoft Bing or Google Maps, they have those APIs even in your own website. It was like you put your address and it maps it within your website also. Gives you a map and gives you approximate lat long. So there's a lot of sophisticated system in the back end just to provide that, what now we take it for granted. Okay. So this is a little guide about how these work. And the third link about data visualization, how you can plot in your data in 3D or 2D and so on. So these few links, go through them. Again, for the homework, they're going to be just basic stuff around it. Final is not going to be there, but this is for your own use. Okay, let's go back to the data set. So let's try to plot these. Okay, those I don't need. Actually, I don't have to select them. Okay. So I go to the simplest one. Let me delete T. Let's say life expectancy. Let's select from all the way up, Norway, to down here. As I mentioned, there's two ways. You can do a map. It's not giving me this here now. Yeah, I think I know why. But this is old format. I need to save it as 2013 Excel book. Still disabled, which is weird. Okay. I don't want to go crazy about it, so what I will do is open a new sheet. Okay, so now let's go here. Okay, I got maps. Great, so I'll get country. And I don't need this one, or move it up here. Select map. There we go. Again, this you're not going to see this in 2013. This is 2016. This, as you notice, is literally a chart. So you can change the colors. Basically, the first color gives you the shade. It's not going to give you multiple color because you need to compare the intensity of the color. So you can select. Look at the first one from the left. It's going to be either blue, orange, or green, so on. You can change also the style. You want a dark background, black background. So this is with the chart, with the map, with the chart of type map. And you notice it took a little bit to load because you need to be online. It had to pull the map from a backend service, from Bing Map service. Yes?
Can you do it for only states in the US?
You can do for only states, yes.
And it recognizes it automatically?
Yeah, I want to try that. Actually, I have another data set for that. Let me take this one. So you have states and you have sales figures. So you can highlight these, go to Insert, Maps. There you go. Yes, that's for sure. Actually, the one I just opened, we trying to check if it recognizes the initials from Canada, it does. From Mexico, it did not. So, yeah, if you want, actually can try these. Yeah, from Mexico actually gave some weird, so yeah, you can try this one, and let me see, insert. Yeah, it shows you the Northeast, the Canadian. You can visualize it. You can actually outline blue. Plot area. This series. Yeah, you can play with it, but there is a way actually you can. 89% high confidence. Okay. So how to convert this to a picture? And let's say in a slide. Right now it's a chart object, right? In Excel and Office in general, anything you select for copy paste, there's always an option when you copy something. Let's say select the whole chart, right? I copy it. I can when I paste, there's always an option as picture. So now this is a picture, it's not dynamic anymore. Yes.
Is there a way to put like a selection in the sense that say
I haven't tried that, but it's worth trying. We'll check that. So this is, I mentioned, this is a picture. Same thing actually, you can even select a set of cells. Copy it. Right click, says this one. Picture, select picture. So this is a picture. It's not editable. This is one way to use maps. We go back to this map. The other one, stick to this. This is the more sophisticated one, is the 3D map. So already, remember the range I got is state and 15 cells. So this will show here as my data. On the right side, I can pick what type of chart I want to see. But the location, under location, let me delete that. I need to add a field. Either I think I can drag it to state, and its type of state province. You need to define what this location type is. It tries automatically to detect what it is, but sometimes you may need to change. Could be a country, could be lat long, so on. Could be full address. Even if you don't have lat long, you still can plot it. Or you can even go by zip code. If you have your data by zip code, you can select this type. So these are type of locations. Now, what do I want to present on the state level? I want to present the sales. This is the, hold on, where's the value? This is the column. When usually I prefer this field. So the value is sales. This is a heat map. Usually this is a legend, takes too much space. I want to delete it. Or you can do the, most importantly here, you can change the zoom, you can change the orientation. It's a globe. You can create a virtual tour. Let's say you start zooming in at Ohio and then move up all the way up here. Yes.
I see a time field. So would that give us like the change in the map over time as well?
If you have that, yes. So if you have the data, let's say sales for, let's say, year to year, you can actually record a short video how it's changing from one year to another. If you want, let me see. I haven't tried that myself, but let's do that. So this is the year, fall 2015, right? And let's say this is equal this minus 1. Let's do like 4 years. 12 and equal this times, let's say as we go up, it's increasing a little bit, like 0.9. So let's say these are the sales figure. Okay, so we'll go back to the map and we change. Oh, by the way, you can do, this is, as I mentioned initially, this is a globe. You can do 2D chart, not the chart, flat map. You got this. If you don't want to show the curvature. Okay, so data. What is it? Yes, actually, you can show the labels. And you can even change the theme. You can use satellite imagery. You
can use more of like a bit dark. So there's different options for the look and feel. Okay, now let's change the, refresh the data. Hold on. Crap, how to refresh this field list? By the way, you also can put multiple layers, but let's, you know what, delete this layer. Okay, now remember. You go back here. 3D map, add to selected data. Okay. So we'll delete this one, go back to heat. So for data, this is the old one. So this is the location is the state, and the value is sales, and the time is this one. The time is the, why is it allowing me to add it? This is sum of sales. Oh, I don't want aggregation. Now I can add it. Should give me an option with the time. No data found formatted as date or time. Okay. So let's make this equal January 1st and this. Let's create a date field. Make sure this is date. Okay. And now I go back here and I refresh the data. And for the date field, I refreshed it. Add date and time field to animator. Edit date and time. Okay, something wrong with this data. Hold on. This one, close it. It is date. So January 1st. Okay. This is state here and sales. No aggregation. Now I think I should be able to add the date. Still not adding. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. I need to double check.
Are we limited with the amount of points?
Hmm?
Does Excel limit us with the amount of data we can actually?
Put there? No, actually, you can have multiple layers. You can have, for example, income over population. And you can hide one and show one, and then show both. One in the column, one in color.
If Excel is it limited to like 2,000 rows or?
That I don't know. Actually, no. It's if you look at the one of the project from previous semester, from Citybike, they had hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
It's going to make the computer slow, but it's not going to crash it. Yeah, probably my data is not formatted properly, but let's see, count. Okay, what I will do, I'll start another one. This one. How do I get rid of this? Paste. Not this one. It's location, date, not taken. Maybe it has to be date and time. No, time's not gonna show. Okay, taking it. Tell you what, let me check. I have another file there. The one we opened yesterday. So this one. So this will show you the arrest related to narcotic in Chicago area. Let's see. And you can play it by time, and let's make this slower. This goes from 1/1/2011 to the whole year of 2011. Scene duration, let's make it 10 seconds. Did it take it? Let's see. Effects, no effects. Okay. Let me close this. Still didn't take it. So you can play it like this. This is the beginning of the year. How many arrests, how it's going. We can zoom in a little bit. So as it process, and you see the date up here shows you like daytime stamp in the corner. Like this March, April, and it's cumulative. So it's not only that day. Overall, year to date. how many arrests are happening. Still don't know why it's not changing. Change the text to move this from the previous one. That's fine. So much, I think some different settings. But there's one way to visualize this set of data, which is 38,000 records. By taking date and time, how many during that day, with the lat and long, see how it's processed. There's one more actually. You can look at field list. Oh, before I forget, if you use, let's go to the other one. Let me close this. There's one more option I want to show you guys there before we're done.